Tipiwa Marcia Mabuto, a Bachelor of Applied Finance from Macquarie University, to speak on behalf of the graduating group. Ms. Mabuto.
Vice-Chancellor, members of the university, fellow graduates and guests, when I first found out I'd be speaking here today, I was very excited. And then I started to realize that speaking here meant actually writing a speech and delivering it in front of hundreds of proud parents and hundreds of graduates in hot black gowns who would not be easy to amuse. Needless to say, as the realization hit, my excitement started to fade. I then began to ask around for ideas on what to say, but everyone just told me to include a joke, and that didn't help me at all. After a lot of thinking, I decided that I'll just say exactly what I'm feeling at this point and hope that most of you listening can relate to it, or at least take something from it, even if you hardly remember any of it tomorrow. Almost every graduation speech I've come across has a part in it where the speaker imparts some of their wisdom. So I'm going to follow that tradition and tell you about a lesson that I, and hopefully some of my fellow graduates, have learned studying here at Macquarie. When I first arrived to study at Macquarie, I was struck almost immediately, not by the leafy green campus, but by the mix of nationalities and cultures that make up the university community. Our classes were filled with people from all over the world, with only less than 50% of us being Australian. I personally found this both fascinating and confronting, as I think did a lot of my fellow students also. I started to notice that the majority of us stuck with our own cultural groups and made very little effort to get to know anyone else. We even complained endlessly when we assigned groups to work in for assignments because they did not include people with whom we're familiar. As time went on, some of us seemed to step out of our comfort zones and started to make friends with everyone regardless of their nationality. This got me thinking, what a great opportunity we have here. Not just to establish useful international business contacts in an increasingly globalized world, but more importantly, to overcome our misperceptions of other cultures and people whose ways we may not understand, only because we never get the time to get to know each other. You see, I realized that the more friends or acquaintances I had from different backgrounds, the more open-minded I became, and the more accepting and accommodating that made me of other people and their values and their beliefs. Because the truth is, although the world we live in is increasingly globalized, we're also increasingly divided. While technology makes our world closer, our misperceptions of those about whom we know very little pull us further apart. We come from many different worlds, all beautiful in their own ways. If we all just took the time to get to know everyone or someone from a world other than our own, perhaps went to visit them in their home country, or even learned their language, our worlds would be so much freer and we'd all be better off. I believe that perception is reality. So if you change whatever perception you have of someone's culture, beliefs, or where they come from, you ultimately change the reality of the world that you live in. We were presented with a great opportunity here to start to get to know that the world is too big to just have one way of life. And the sooner we all start appreciating each other's ways, the better off we'll all be. Because one thing that we all have in common is that we all want to be respected, be it in our personal lives, our careers, or even in the political sphere. Outside of university, we'll continue to live in a multicultural society. And I hope that we've all left Macquarie with an ability to more than just tolerate other people's ways, but with an appreciation of them and their richness. After all that preaching, I'd like to say that after all these years at Macquarie University and an honors degree to show for them, I still don't know what I want to do with my life, as my parents are just beginning to realize. I'm pretty sure that a lot of us graduating today are in the same boat. So I can tell you that whoever said university is where you learn what you want to be was sadly mistaken. But it's the support that my parents and my brothers show for every single idea that I have, and their never failing belief in me, that lets me know that it's okay to not know what I want right now. After all, what would the fun be in life's journey if all one did was reach the destination without any adventure or misadventure along the way? So for those of us graduating today who are anxious because nothing has gone according to plan, I'm sure it'll all work out eventually. Hopefully, we'll figure it out before our parents kick us out of their homes. Speaking of parents, our families have supported us and fed us since our very first day of school through to university graduation. Our friends have always been and continue to be there whenever we're in trouble, mainly because they got us in the trouble in the first place. I know that for most of us, our families and friends are the only reason we're here today, wearing these gowns that do nothing for our figures. For our support systems, whether or not they're here today, my fellow graduates, please join me in thanking them and giving them a round of applause. I'm sure that I also speak for all of us in extending our gratitude to our teachers, our lecturers and tutors, who've tirelessly shared their knowledge with us, even when we're not listening to them because it was Conception Day. Some of you have also become our friends and our mentors, so from all of us, thank you. Congratulations and happy graduation, everyone.
Thank you very much, Tapiwa, for that speech and for reminding us of the debt that we owe to people who have supported us, and that there's more to university than simply books, that often the lessons we learn from one another are just as important as what we learn in the classroom. So thank you very much for that speech.